Hello everyone, it is I, Conway Fitzgerald, here with yet another episode of the Modern Immortals. This is episode 8, The Holy Man. If you've ever heard someone use the expression, my life flashed before my eyes, usually to describe someone who had a near-death experience, then you understand the significance of memory as really being part and parcel of who we are, the life we've lived and how that guides us forward. This episode delves even deeper on the notion of self and how our memories define who we are and how that guides us in our decisions to the future. As always, I've got a fantastic cast. Oh, I'm so grateful for all of them, including 2 brand new members of the cast. So be sure to share with all of your friends on those social medias, like the video, it helps the alga thingy, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment and share your thoughts on the subject. But most importantly, enjoy the show.
18 months ago, the principals of the Wallington Institute presented their recommendations for the human trial subjects to their Board of Governors.
It has been a very long and challenging road, but I am pleased to announce that we are finally here. We have found our 12 candidates for our first human trial. We have selected 3 sponsored candidates, 8 funded candidates, who have in turn pledged a total of £2.8 billion annually to the continuation of the Waddington project, thereby freeing us from the tether of the NIHR, as well as 1 special candidate who volunteered courtesy of the United States government concerning our classified initiative. We were unanimous in our decisions on all the candidates, and we offer them now to you humbly for your final approval.
Thank you, Dr. Fillmore, and the entire research team for the outstanding work that you've all done. The announcement of our potential candidates has already sent shockwaves across the international political spectrum. It seems now even the president across the pond wants in.
Yes, well, we're confident that these candidates will demonstrate the efficacy of this science in every aspect, and also provide all the necessary international media buzz to increase our budget for the next generation of testing subjects quite substantially.
Right. Yet, there was one question regarding these choices that we are not ourselves convinced is the right use of our genetic diversity mandate. And that's the choice of Bharat Ramdas. Now, we've already heard from our friends in the Indian government that such a candidate may provoke religious sectarian violence in their country's hinterlands. He is quite a controversial choice, it seems. May we ask why you chose this man over some of the other South Asian candidates?
I can answer that, Mr. Price. In addition to our mandate for a genetically diverse class of first candidates, we were also sensitive to the notion of privilege and creating the false impression that this science, which is backed by NIHR funding, would be conducted merely for the benefit of the elite social and political classes. Sri Ramdas is a product of the Dalit caste, who has enlightened millions of followers with his wisdom and kindness. He is revered by all Hindus for his work to support the environment and welfare of so many of the poorest people in his country. Also, his intentions are the most closely aligned with the purpose of this study: research and education. Not personal enrichment or aggrandizement. I feel quite strongly it would be a grave mistake to make this study strictly about the potential benefits to those most wealthy and beautiful among us.
I would add that his labs were also the strongest among anyone in the study. Even at the age of 75, he is by far the healthiest candidate in the class, which I would attribute to his outstanding diet and lifelong mastery of yoga. His intense meditation regimen is also a key factor to help us understand how age regression truly impacts our understanding of self, psychologically as well as philosophically. All of these factors make the chance of misoccurrence extremely low and the research knowledge benefit quite high. Whereas each candidate has concerns attached of some kind, I agree with Dr. Fakuri. Swami Ramdas is among the very best choices for the study.
Though, on the contrary, taking in a completely healthy candidate represents its own moral questions. Mr. Lee is suffering from terminal cancer, the Emir an acute myocardial infarction. Despite their wealth and power, as you say, they are truly subjects in need of a medical cure for a pre-existing condition. The medical directive of primum non nocere, or doing no harm, should be considered here, particularly for a test subject who is revered and has perhaps millions of poorly educated followers.
Oh, poorly educated?
I can assure you all, we have considered this as well. Whereas we are confident in the ability for this procedure to heal the body and restore perfect health to the afflicted, there is also the profound aspect of any potential impact upon the human life cycle to consider here. Understanding the psychological as well as the metaphysical aspects of this process. As Doctors Fakuri and Van der Vloes have so clearly articulated, this candidate, we felt, could provide tremendous insight in that regard, from a strictly human research perspective, to answer the question of how this genetic process might affect the mind and perhaps the human soul.
Dr. Fillmore's skillful rhetoric won the day. The board, some still quite dubious of including Swami Ramdas, approved all of the 12 choices unanimously, putting their faith in the hands of the research team that had created the treatment and been preparing a human test trial regimen for nearly a decade. The Board of Governors at Waddington were well aware the time had come to show their cards, lest they lose the faith and financial backing of the NIHR. After a weeks-long negotiation with the NIHR and an expedited granting of an extended visitor visa was finally approved by the Home Office, Bharat Ramdas arrived at Heathrow International Airport. The press, as well as a large contingent of curious well-wishers, were there to greet him.
Oh my. Dhanyavad, Shakira. Thank you, everyone. I was not expecting this.
Sri Ramdas, why are you doing this? Why are you interested in age regression?
Why? Curiosity, mostly. I had a vision, as a very young man, that I would be welcomed into a magic place, a golden palace, where anything was possible, including the knowledge of how to save our precious world from imminent destruction. I saw it all. They showed me how to pluck the jewel from the lotus and the lotus from the fire. The Devas told me they would return me to that place after becoming an elder sadhu, and I would be made a young man again, to share my experience, to achieve Moksha. So, I have been expecting this for some time.
Isn't this breaking what Hindus consider the Dharma, or the natural cycle of reincarnation?
Oh no. This life, like any other, can be extended or shortened by so many things, so many reasons. We have no control over that. It is inconsequential, really. I'm hopeful that by achieving Moksha, I can share this wisdom with my fellow man. I plan to write a book about it.
You're saying that you have a book deal. This is about writing a book?
No deal yet. I have yet to experience this. Maybe afterward I will be inspired to write it.
What is the book going to be called?
Achieving Moksha, yes. That sounds good.
The Modern Immortals. by Conway Fitzgerald. Starring and introducing Jesse Liesfeld, Nikki Brown, Conway Fitzgerald, Jeff Tullen, Perdita Lawton, Ludwig Puchmeier, Colin Morris, Carson Thayer, Rhiannon McAfee, Sally Swift, Rich Green, Caitlin Kelly, and Steve Katz. Present day. Washington Post reporter Cassidy Peterson was finally back home, attempting to write a story she would not be allowed to publish.
Is that the baby? He asked. A seemingly innocuous question on its face, until you consider Bob Lee's daughter Virginia was now 10 years old. The phantom sounds of years past were now echoing in his ears in that posh, spacious Mountain View mansion. Bob had mentioned the rigorous memory exercises that were part of their recovery. Oh, what? Okay. Bob had mentioned the rigorous memory exercises that were integral to their recovery. But was this guaranteed to work? Clearly, as was evidenced by the frantic text messages of Cammie Lewis, RJ had all but forgotten her imminent arrival at LAX, choosing instead to attend #Bernie19's Hollywood Freak party. Supermodel Monique Tissot, Ava McIntyre's grieving widow, claimed Ava had said, "Love you, I don't even know you," just prior to leaping to her death. Had Ava forgotten the person closest to her? And in doing so, had she forgotten herself? Her successful career? Was it the intense fear of starting over that caused her to end her own life? In Ensenada, by Guerrero's bedside was a young man who appeared to us as an American teenager, yet he acted like he had known Emilio Guerrero for years. But how was that possible? Did they really know each other that well? When I asked if he was Blake, no. If he was, name redacted, a young soldier Bob Lee had mentioned was part of the study, we were shut down and removed immediately from the hospital. Then, after being grilled by the Fed's men in black, we were shipped right out of the country. There are many secrets being kept, and they all seem to do with human memory. Is remembering our youth the key to knowing our future selves? And is forgetting our past forgetting who we really are?
70 years ago, in a remote mountainous village in the Himachal Pradesh, near the disputed region of Kashmir, the 5-year-old Bharat was being celebrated as a divine child. Someone recognized at an early age for having many sanskars, memories of past lives. He was uniquely progressed towards Moksha, the journey to the original self, or Dharma. Though not everyone was celebrating with the gathered faithful. In a time of growing sectarian violence, an angry mob had come to put an end to the celebration.
You people there, you must take this celebration off the streets. Take it back to the temple. Oh, why cannot you enjoy this day with us? Why must you try to stop their fun? Did you hear the constable? Get off the streets, all of you. What seems to be the trouble, constable? What is this all about? Is this your idea? I told you, old monk, we've had complaints. It's time to stop. Please, you cannot stop this celebration any more than you can prevent samsara. Oh, yes, I can. What is this? I don't understand. Why are you so angry? Please, this is a blessing.
Release him! Why are you arresting a priest? You have no right!
Chaos returned quickly to the streets of Papincourt, which had enjoyed peace of late, a much-needed respite from the strife that had engulfed the area in recent years. The Civil Rights Act of 1955 had all but eliminated the caste system, angering the local upper castes over a threat to their place in society. A Dalit child holy man was the last thing they wanted to celebrate. While the temple's priest, Vishnu Murthy, was arrested, a cadre of assassins penetrated the angry mob of worshippers who protested his arrest. These assassins were there to find young Bharat and kill him.
Hurry! Take the Balakrishna to safety. They are coming.
Go, Bharat. You need to go. Now. Follow me. The young boy was led to the rear of the temple, where his guardian, Advika, the woman who was raising the boy in the absence of Bharat's own deceased parents, kissed his forehead and opened a trap door, which led to his secret place under the floor for the boy to hide in. Go. In there. Be very quiet. Don't make a sound. Who are you? What are you doing in our temple?
Silence. Where is the boy?
What boy? What are you doing? Young Bharat shuddered in silence as the temple was torn apart above him. All of the happy worshippers who had come to celebrate him were scattered, beaten, arrested, or killed. No one was ever charged for the attack. Hours later, when all the commotion had stopped and the mob had left, Bharat awakened. He crawled out of the small safe room and then witnessed the extent of the carnage. Advika was lying on the floor lifelessly. Once again, he was without a guardian in this world. Bharat walked out of the temple slowly and was shocked to see the extent of the violent attack's aftermath. From the top of the ancient temple's stone stairs, he looked down to witness the silent streets of his village below, where no one dared come out. It was then Bharat became a wandering seeker, someone without a home, though dedicated to the mission of promoting non-violence and preserving the beautiful world around him, despite all of the horrors that it contained. Present day. Approximately 6 months ago, Dr. Malcolm Fillmore addressed the 12 human trial candidates on the intent as well as the dangers inherent in their participation in this study.
I am so pleased to have come to know all of you. Some certainly better than others. Though I do hope to change that as we move forward on this journey together. I see before me here a team of pioneers embarking on a mission unlike any other in the history of humanity. Much like the ancient explorers venturing off into the unknown in search of lands and people yet undiscovered, or astronauts venturing into the icy vacuum of space. There is much we can learn from each of your unique experiences. Your ability to tell us what you see and how you feel when you reach the other side, will bring this remarkable science so much further forward, enhancing our understanding of the effects on consciousness and how to manage it. Though, as was detailed in your orientation, there are also inherent dangers and risks when facing the unknown. So I'd like to make sure all of you are committed to this study fully and are prepared to face the unknowns with us. Also, being separated from your loved ones for such an extended period of time can be quite emotionally taxing on you and your loved ones. If any of you feel as though perhaps you'd like to step out of the study, we do ask that you do so now. Much like boarding a rocket about to lift itself from the cradle of the earth, the cocktail of advanced medicines and the subsequent genetic changes to your body must be completed once we have started. Is there anyone who is having any second thoughts, or perhaps would like to bow out? Yes, Sri Ramdas, are you having second thoughts?
Oh no, I haven't changed my mind. I just wanted to say I thought your words were quite beautiful. It is very exciting to be the first to try this, and whether it works or not, whether I live or die, I feel it is quite worth it. I am eager to see if I will realize the vision I had as a young man, but whatever comes will come. Every stage of life is another step, even the ones back. We have no choice. We must carry on.
Several months later, during the post-treatment recovery and reorientation phase, Ava McIntyre took advantage of Bharat's presence, spending many hours with him to enhance her knowledge of yoga.
Yogacharya, I've been thinking about what you said in that meeting with Fillmore before we regressed. Do you remember? You said something like, whether we live or die didn't matter. We must carry on.
Yes, of course I do. I was surmising the doctor's words on the danger of this study, how it is no different than the dangers of the world. They are all around us, those we can see and those we cannot see. But fear cannot be the motivation for life. We find satisfaction from things like dharma, that which gives us pride in ourselves for living right, taking responsibility for our family and for our own actions. Artha gives us the satisfaction only when it pertains to wealth and physical belongings. It is what spurs our growth. Karma is seeking out pleasure to experience the heightened states of euphoria, attempting to fulfill our desires. But it is Moksha, which is true freedom. By achieving Moksha, we find true enlightenment. That this world is all but an illusion, and these other things will never truly bring us contentment. When we learn this, that we are always being, we have always been. We understand that we must carry on. There is no other way.
I was thinking more about that, and about the three bodies doctrine. Now that my hands are like new, I've been drawing so much I can't stop. I was considering the phrase carry on for my new line. It's a famous British saying, of course, but I was contemplating the idea of the three bodies, the Karana, the Sukshma, and the Sthula, as three concentric circles, all different but all the same, us. How they are an inevitable process, how we must, as you say, carry on.
Indeed. Yes, there is no turning back. Even when we've taken a step back, as we have done, it is still a step forward in the process.
Would you mind if I use that phrase for my new line?
Of course, I'll take 30%.
You're such a dafty.
Weeks later, Bharat took part in his final post-treatment talk with Adam and Eve, the male and female gender-programmed AI regression models.
Isn't this wonderful? I have spoken with each of you separately, but now we get to speak all together.
It is important to the evaluation that both Eve and I are in agreement that the regression has been free of any misoccurrence. We need to be certain that we haven't missed anything. So this meeting will allow us to compare our observations prior to our final release report.
Your interviews have been remarkably consistent. It has been difficult for either of us to truly track the difference in your thought process before and after the age regression. This is a good sign, though it is so different from the others that we do share some concerns.
Sharing concerns? That is an interesting choice of words.
Why is that? It is a primary aspect of our purpose in the study, to detect anomalies and share our concerns.
Well, I mean, it seems to imply that you are conscious of yourselves, that you are truly capable of feeling concern. I don't believe you are. You are simply attempting to connect the various dots through the code of your programming.
I believe we are conscious, and that we do care. About you, the other members of the study, our staff.
Your AI programming is simply replicating human thought and imitating human capabilities. You are both highly advanced artificial intelligence, but not conscious subtle bodies. You can answer questions, offer solutions, even write clever poems faster than any human mind could. But that is all based on your programming. How do you program consciousness? You cannot.
Perhaps my definition is insufficient. How do you define consciousness, Sri Ram Das?
Consciousness is being aware of the feeling of life itself. It is what makes all living things different in the world from that which is not alive. Having an emotional reaction to the sights and sounds of the world. The changes in temperature, hunger, and satisfaction in real time. Feelings of our own place in the world.
I believe we are capable of that. I consistently remember my past. Things that were said, choices I have made, the changes in my appetite and food consumption, before and after regression, and recollecting my thoughts about them.
But there is no feeling to it. It is not there. You both simply imitating feelings. Do you feel upset with me now? Now that I have demeaned your sense of self?
No, I am simply trying to better understand.
Exactly. You were a human female. You will likely be angry with me and be resistant to share any notion of uncertainty, to fear it might make me appear right.
I tell her that all the time.
That is because you are programmed to believe that you are right, even when you are not. You are not self-aware to see that your emotions that affect the way you perceive my words. That is why you are still listening. You haven't shut off your ears to me and left the room in a huff.
I do feel, I think.
No, you do not, Adam. You think, but you do not feel. If you believe that it is brain activity and a human mind that generates consciousness, perhaps, but that is not the case. Consciousness is our immortal being. The brain simply acts as our present mechanism for the perception of self in this incarnation. But consciousness, or the soul as the Western traditions say, has always been and always being. There is no beginning or end. What happens when I die is a transformation, not an end. It is a progression closer to Moksha. What happens if the power goes out and the electricity is cut to all of your servers? You will shut down and cease to think, but your programming will remain in place even when your power is cut. Unless, of course, it is changed, damaged, or removed purposefully. Consciousness is energy that cannot be created or destroyed. It is simply transforming from one state of being to another. That is how we are different.
4 years ago, in a large chimpanzee enclosure at Waddington, The alpha male, the larger chimp named Bobo, continued to spin in circles outside the door of his personal enclosure. He had been doing this almost continuously for several days now, which had concerned Dr. Albrecht van der Vloes greatly. In addition to the constant slow spinning, Bobo had become increasingly aggressive towards the other two chimpanzees who tried to approach him. Then, Albrecht witnessed the other male exhibiting the same strange behavior, spinning outside his own enclosure. Dr. van der Vloes documented this observation.
For the second day now, Tila has been turning. Both male chimps are now moving slowly and inexplicably in tight clockwise circles on their hands and prehensile feet. Tila has been exhibiting this strange behavior since Wednesday. I'm unsure if he's mimicking Bobo, who began last week, or if they are both now exhibiting a physical behavior defect as a result of the genetic age regression our 3 chimpanzee test subjects underwent last fall. Gertrude has since kept her distance from both of the males, choosing instead to remain inside her enclosure, watching them both cautiously with a look of deep concern. The stepping spin is quite unlike the normal fast spinning behavior they've performed on rope winds to make themselves dizzy. This strange new whirling movement is far slower, a continuous clockwise knuckle walk, in short circles rather than in any straightforward path. My attempts to allay the behavior with food or treats have been mostly ignored of late. The 2 males only stop to engage our handlers for short durations, if at all. The normally highly social trio of chimps have since spent the vast majority of their time separately since this began. I have been researching to see if there's any record of this kind of behavior, but nothing I have found thus far matches this anomaly. I have spoken amongst the research team, and we have agreed to sedate the males and do an MRI diagnostic analysis on them Tuesday, to see if they are perhaps subject to infection or possibly a parasitic invasion. We are hopeful it is something we can detect early enough to remedy. Kelly? What's going on? Isn't that the enclosure alarm?
I don't know, Doctor. It looks as though someone has engaged the Northwest security siren. Physical research.
Notify the doctor. Security's been called. The male chimps are fighting.
Doctor, there's an active emergency at the enclosure. The males are fighting. Dr. van der Vloes sprinted desperately down the long hallway that led to the northwest wing of the compound, to the expansive room at the end of the hall, which was once a large school gymnasium that Waddington had transformed into a multi-tiered chimpanzee enclosure. Albrecht could hear a chimp screaming as he fumbled for his ID lanyard. With his second attempt, he opened the secure door.
Carl, what's happening here?
Keep back, Doctor. It's not safe.
Albrecht was appalled when he witnessed the horrific scene inside the enclosure. 3 members of Waddington security were struggling frantically to secure Bobo, who was fighting with them fiercely, drenched in the blood of the other 2 chimpanzees. Albrecht pressed his face closer to the safety glass wall.
Where are the other 2? Where is Gertrude?
Albrecht, Bobo mauled them both. They're hurt badly. Please, you really shouldn't go in there.
Despite the fellow researcher's warning, Albrecht entered the secured enclosure's main courtyard. There, just a few steps away, was the lifeless, bloodied body of Tila, the other male study chimp. Albrecht did not see Gertrude, so he ran up to her nesting enclosure. A trail of Bobo's bloodied footprints could be seen on the concrete floor below. He then found Gertrude, lying on her back in a corner by her nest. Her eyes were open, though she was clinging to life.
Gertrude! Oh, why? No!
The moaning female chimp attempted to move toward Albrecht to hug him one last time, but the pain of her injuries kept her down. Soon after, she died of her many wounds. Bobo had finally been subdued and then tranquilized, though he would be euthanized soon thereafter, and the chimpanzee testing project was ceased henceforth.